almost as if they've turned this tragedy into an experiment. That's how I would sum it up. This does feel like an experiment. It feels like we are a bunch of lab rats that they want to see how much can they F with us.
And here we go.
Welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
If you're just tuning in, welcome to the Hive Mind. This is a contrarian thinking live stream where we are not afraid to think past the headlines. So if you're easily rattled or if you're offended on behalf of others, you're going to hate this stream. You're going to hate me. You're probably going to not like people in this stream. However, if you're the conspiracy theorist in your friend group, you have found your people. You are amongst friends today. Like I said, we're going to be diving into Detective Brett Payne. It's a little bit odd that he has minimal experience and he was given such a high-profile case. The outcome went, from a law enforcement standpoint, as clean and as crisp and as perfect as it could go, right? You got some emotions running high with the family and the court system. That's to be expected, though, right? That's to be expected. So why would you ever just bounce? There's some questions that we have to ask that are known as like the forbidden questions, right? Detective Brett Payne, how odd it is that you are handed this investigation with minimal experience. It's extremely high profile, a career maker, one might say. The young buck on the job. Show us what you got. Give it your best shot. You get this airtight narrative, and it's the most locked in Brian Koberger's guilty case of all time is what we were told, right? He's in prison for the rest of his life. 4 consecutive life sentences. Minimal experience, and that's the outcome. I'm sure that his career at that police department in that area is just going to explode, right? Now, I'm going to go work for the university. No, I don't want to be in the public light anymore. Interesting. Don't speculate. Don't ask questions. Just trust the process that everything was done right. Although the process has been an entire illusion. Subpoenas, NDAs, redactions. It's about as blurry as it can get. Almost as if they've turned this tragedy into an experiment. That's how I would sum it up. This does feel like an experiment. It feels like we are a bunch of lab rats as the public that they want to see how much can they F with us. Yeah. Now, it's time. It's been time. We've been trying to, but it's really time to take the gloves off on this. All right, so let's get into it. I have this clip coming up here from Booking with B over on TikTok. Now, this is at 4:21 a.m. on Linda Lane dumpster cam footage. She had sent me a screenshot that says this. I don't have the screenshot. I sent it actually in the Mudwap champ. She said, "Tell me you see Murphy run across the street at the end and someone in all black is chasing him." Has anybody ever seen this before? So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play this. I want you to where my cursor is up here. I have a few different filters on this. Okay. So it's going to loop a couple of times. This is the original. And then I have a night vision. I have a negative, and then I just have a brightness filter. Okay. So you're going to look up here, and you've always seen like, a kitty kind of running across the stairs or wherever it is. This looks like a dog. But you also start to see somebody right back here. So kind of keep your eyes fixed on this triangle area. And it's a little bit blurry, not just because we're zoomed in, but I'm fully convinced that this film has been manipulated. So here we go. This is the next filter. This one, you'll just see the dog pretty good. Yep. Here's a night vision. Now, again, I know people have said it's a cat. I'm not disagreeing. I have the footage for us to pull up. and we're gonna watch it. We're gonna see if we can find it. Do a little bit better of digging. Yeah, that's Fiddlesticks. That's Fiddlesticks. It is a long tail because Murphy's what is it? Murphy is a doodle, a labradoodle, something like that. They typically have longer tails though, unless you clip them. Which I don't know if anybody clips their dog's tails. Haven't, so I guess I don't know what it looks like. There's a cougar on the wild. If Moscow already was not the biggest portal of hell, I remember people saying like, "Oh my God, there's a cougar out. There's a bobcat. It's flying across the screen. Look at it. They're." Well, at least my mouth was closed on that one. Christ. Thank God. PTSD from that. And what I was saying is that if Brian Koberger won't get you, the Bobcat will get you. And it reminds me of Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby has to get into the car to show that he's able to drive fast because there's a kilo of Colombian Bam Bam taped underneath his car that his dad put. And he called the cops on him, but it's really just Lucky Charms. And he goes, "Don't try to snort those." Yeah, come on over to YouTube, Smixon. And if you are on X, here is my my username for YouTube is up on the screen now. Please come over and join us in the Hive on YouTube. I was cross streaming on X and YouTube. I'm also thinking about starting to cross stream on Rumble just as a fallback, but right now those are the two that I use. So we are now officially just streaming on YouTube. So it very well it could be a cat. Again, I respect the way of the thinking of like, what if that's Murphy? I don't know. I mean, Murphy can teleport, right? Oh, that's Detective Mowry. Detective Mowry says it's a cat burglar. The Bobcat was in their news a couple of days ago. The Bobcat was not actually seen on this footage though, right? I thought people were kind of trolling about that. Or it was like a speck of dust that they're like, look at how fast it is. There's no way there's an actual Bobcat on the Linda Lane footage, is there? I know people speculated on it, but that's not been confirmed. Yeah, Mr. Smixon, I know. What's up, Verity Leanne? It's a pretty username. Yeah, either way, who would be running and are they running after it? I have not seen that, no. But I can help with the video adjustment for sure. Bobcats do not have long tails like that. Cougars can sound like birds chirping. That's weird. Murphy was in a truck during the attacks on Linda Lane, Mimi says. Mamau 20. Mama W 20 says, yes, there was a Bobcat there. Bubbly always said there was a Bobcat or a mountain lion. That's right. I couldn't remember who said that. Cougars can also sound like Jennifer Coolidge. I love these Saturday lives. Sometimes it's just good for the soul to get on here and talk openly and just hang out. You know, I like to do temperature checks every now and again. Type of one if you guys kind of like the slower paced. Obviously, we have plenty of deep dives and fast paced, but I feel like on Saturday midday, it's a good time to do it. Mitty Witty says decompressing is a must to maintain sanity, a thriving mental space. I agree with that. Has anybody here ever, unfortunately, hit a deer? You got to keep your head on a swivel. Like even up north, we got some bears by us that you got to keep your head on a swivel for. UK Kaylee says, MILF, MILF, MILF. You've hit many deer? Yeah, they'll tear your car up. Redman says, I have. They tore my car up. Nobody's NBA says, I wrecked a big-ass elk on my truck I had for 2 days. Oh. Did it total it? I can imagine. An elk? Wow. Shoe Girl says, I've hit one in Spokane going 70. Holy shit. Have you guys ever seen that video clip of the Formula One car that hits a deer during a race? Holy shit, dude. That thing got sent. Watch it in real speed. That's crazy. Terrible timing. They go through a multitude of stuff, but here's this military psyops section. This is about 4 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and just play the military psyops part. Okay. But this video, if you guys do want to go watch it on your own, it is right here: drug trafficking and murder in the special forces with Seth Harp, the Chris Hedges report. Here's the channel, right there. Go ahead, give them a subscribe and a like for showing it on the stream. All right.
I'm gonna just to move on, but you write a lot about the blowback in terms of domestic violence, the wife killings at Fort Bragg, and there's a series of killings. I think what was it, 6 spouses or something, or murdered, or I can't remember the number. But then, of course, the Fort Bragg, and in particular, the Delta commanders just go into overdrive to exonerate everybody from these killings, most of them, and cover it up. And they actually begin to spin bizarre theories that the anti-malarial drug malefiquin, which is Lariam, which I took in the southern Sudan, is to blame. And the media buys it. I mean, one of the kind of minor.
Wait, what did he just say? That there's a drug to blame for this? I missed that.
Malarial drug malefiquin, which is Lariam, which I took in the southern Sudan, is to blame. And the media buys it. I mean, one of the kind of minor subtexts of your book is just how easily the media is just spun by these people repeatedly.
Yeah, the special forces are expert in psychological operations, and psyops are a big part of what they do. Now, by law, those psychological operations have to be directed at foreign populations. They can't be directed at American citizens.
I'm sure they've never done it on American soil, though. Ever. Or maybe do they then go to foreign soil and they say, hey, we're going to teach you and we're going to allow you to come and do this on American soil so that we have plausible deniability. It wasn't the U.S. government doing it against us. No, it was Mossad. No, it was the Russians. It was China. It's North Korea. It's Rocket Man. Don't you know? It's not us. It's not us. Don't look over here at where our black budget spending goes. We will never tell you. Shut up. Go back to work. Let us censor you. Let us just destroy any last bit of self-competence that you feel that you have. There is an invisible enemy. We are the only people that can see it. So trust us, bro. That is what we are doing. We are protecting you. It is for the greater good. No, not at all. Insert clown horn.
But not only is there a lot of bleed back in the age of the internet, but also these guys, when they're dealing with the media, they sort of naturally inhabit that role and that ability to spin and manipulate. And they're quite capable of controlling media coverage of their operations through selective leaks and selective disclosures. In the case that you're talking about in 2002, when 4 Army wives stationed at Fort Bragg were murdered in short succession by their husbands, nearly all of whom were Special Forces soldiers who had just returned from Afghanistan. That looks really bad. That could cause a call into question, the relationship between American militarism and certain forms of blowback, especially violence against women. But instead of that, some senior officials from Delta Force got on the phone with credulous reporters from UPI and other wire services and newspapers of record, and told them that what had happened was that Lariam, this malaria drug that they had taken, caused these guys to lose their mind, become paranoid and aggressive, and in fact homicidal. This is a ridiculous theory. There's no
I agree in this context, but I do think that why do they think people would buy that? That's the other part. So they're that good at this spin that they'll make this claim that, oh, this drug, it makes you a maniac, it makes you homicidal. Well, why are people going to believe that? Is that because people are going to be like, there's probably drugs out there that do that to us? Because that's probably good for human consumption, right? Well, it's a joke for this specific medicine if you know it. But why is that bought by people? Yeah, why are they testing meds on our military? You know, Betty Blue 908 says, we love our country, but not everything our government does. PSYOPs, DV, corrupt, LE, etc. We want to be correct. Yeah, trust me. I live in America. I love America. I love America, right? Again, I know this. Sometimes I hate saying this quote just because people get triggered when you say the word Donald Trump. Okay. It didn't matter. I don't care if it was Obama, if it was Biden, if it was Bush, if it was, anybody. When Donald Trump was saying, why are you meeting, or somebody was asking him, why are you meeting with Putin? He's a killer. And I just thought it was interesting how, he said back to this reporter, the person interviewing him, he says, what do you think we're so innocent? You know what I mean? I'm just glad that somebody, it doesn't matter who it came from, said that, right? We're not innocent. It's not that we are the people that are doing it. Trust us. We don't like what our government does abroad many times. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't, put a boot in someone's ass if they try to mess with us. But it's this concept of we can't just be righteous all of the time and never make mistakes and not address them. And not address them with some PR spin on it too. That's the other thing too that we need to really focus in on is if you're wrong, just say you're wrong, address it and move on. Don't say you're wrong, address it and then downplay it. You know what I mean? I hope you guys get my point in what I'm saying with that, because it's important to understand that it's not anti-military, it's not anti-cop, it's not anything. No. We've really messed up sometimes. And you just got to own it. You have to own it. Have some accountability and let it be, right? Let it be. One of the best things that my mom actually told me about when you're able to vote, she was like, just, when you think about who you're voting for, you have to remember they're not your dad, they're not your brother, they're not your significant other, right? They're your president. And that stuck with me, right? You don't have to have a personal relationship with them. It has to be somebody who's running the country. And I think that also is something that the media doesn't lean into enough. You cannot like people. Being president, guys, they were writing shit with a feather and candlelight. Okay. What did we have? What was our population at that point with George Washington? Okay. We got what, 330 million people, or whatever the population now is in the United States, which let me look that up actually. Current. So we have 340.1 million as of 2024 people. It's like being president is an impossible job. So is it an outdated system? I don't know. Anybody who wants to be president probably shouldn't be president. It's become this popularity contest, right? It's who can talk better. I don't know what the fix is to it. It seems like it would be quite a simple fix, and that is rather. But then it's just such a rigged game. You need so much money. You got to sell yourself out to get the funding for a campaign. It should just be like, I'm serving this role for my community for however many years. If I get reelected, up to 8, and then I go back to my normal life. I can write a book. I can make money on that. Absolutely. It's an intense job. People deserve to it. But, I can speak at stuff on it. It's gotten to be too much of a career. I think that if we got rid of, politicians being a career, the reason why I say that is, in my opinion, it's an ever-flowing aspect of our world, right? People who got popular in politics, in the 70s and the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, I don't know if that's still popular today, but you made your bed during those decades. with who funded campaigns, who got your name out there initially. Now you're loyal to them. That's also human nature. But I don't know what the fix is. It just has to be something where you put a common person, like common folk needs to go and do it. And then common folk function within what was designed to be the system. I just want our system to work. I'd be curious if people talk about the founding fathers and stuff and what they wrote. For example, people bring up the Second Amendment a lot. People will say, well, they said the right to bear arms. Okay, whether you hate or you love the Second Amendment, I think that was smart on their end to not specify. So there's things that even back then they knew technology would advance, but they did not say freedom of thought. That sounds trippy. Well, you got Elon Musk trying to, put Neuralink in everybody's head. He's not trying to put it in everybody's head, but I'm saying, who knows what a push down the road could be if that starts to work out. So then, well, does that get around the Constitution? I don't think they say anything freedom of thought. They say freedom of speech. Would that go to the Supreme Court? What are people going to rule on for that? And I think actually, Brandon, you just summed that up. Common folk aren't attracted to that sort of power. You're right. That is the rub. Big Forehead, Big Dream says career politicians are one of the core problems in this country, in my opinion. It also, what career politicians end up forcing society to do is they make you also commit loyalty to them for decades, right? Because if you're a career politician, think about it as if you're going through schooling and you're playing a sport. Oh, you're a true freshman. Then, again, you can extrapolate this out over a handful of decades and years. But now you're a fifth-year senior. You're about to be a Heisman Trophy winner. Well, everybody that knew you as a true freshman when you were, getting scrub time on the punt team, they're going to still be loyal to you. And now you're about to be the Heisman winner. But whatever you had thought, does it change that much? Are you able to be fluid? I don't know. I don't feel like we've seen, no matter what you believe, that big of an example of this fluidity. I'm not a political person in the aspect of, I think I've said this 3 million times. Left wing, right wing, they're on the same wings of a bird, nosediving into Satan's gooch. We are going off the rails on a train car that is lit on fire, off a cliff into the abyss. If anybody likes the way of the world that it's been going the last X amount of years, I don't know what to say. Does anybody like the path, no matter who's in charge, that we're going down? Does anybody? We as a people are continuing to lose power. We are continuing to have less and less of, an inside look and inside baseball into what's really happening. We have to decipher stuff. And then while we go and we decipher these things, we get called crazy. We actually get shit on. We get shut down. There is no transparency. There's this illusion of transparency. There's this illusion of, you know what? Anybody can go and do this. If you work hard enough, you can go and you can make it. No, guys, I'm a positive person. I work really hard. I believe in discipline. And I think that if you are disciplined and you have a goal in mind, you can accomplish it. There are some things in this world right now, especially in the United States, that you can't just work hard and stay disciplined and go and get it. You can't. Okay. My wife and I were very blessed in the fact that so Mrs. Birdie owns her own business, right? I have a sales job. I'm blessed that I'm lucky that I'm talented in that. So I can go out, I can earn commission. You guys, these things that are occurring for I've talked to my mom. If they were making, not that it's about making money, because it's not like we're not rich. We're not rich at all. Okay. But it's like, if they were even making what we are combined, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked as a gun salesman. And we went on a trip to Disney every year. I got new cleats for baseball. My brother and I got to go pick out a baseball bat to share once a season. It seems like now these normal little things are very difficult to do. And they're getting harder to do. I'm not a negative person or a pessimist, and I'm not trying to blackpill anybody. I'm not trying to get up here and be on a soapbox. Rather, can we go take what is ours? Like, goddamn, I'm so sick of, I don't ever see the government in my life When my ass is getting up at the crack of dawn, I don't ever see the government ever. I see them on payday when they take 38.9 or 39.8% of the check. I didn't see them, driving 3 hours across the state to go in service with me, but they'll make damn sure they get their cut of that work. And I'm not trying to say that you need to tax these people more or no taxes or whatever it is. Can we just know what the money goes towards? Honestly, can we just not be lied to, for God's sakes? Can you put somebody in there that if you dig into their background and they have, one or two things that they've said in the past of, that's a little bit questionable, but there's an explanation. Hey, when I said that, I was single, I was 25, my entire life's on social media. There's nothing else. But now, I'm married. I have a pregnant wife. My viewpoints have changed a little bit. Maybe, whatever. Can we have a reasonable person? Is it that hard to be reasonable in today's day and age? Well, it is hard. You want to know why it's hard to be reasonable? Because if you're a reasonable person, you don't get into those positions of power. They don't want reasonable people in those positions. They want unreasonable people. They want people who are power thirsty, attention starved, will do and say anything to keep that power. And we are the ones that pay the bill of it. We have to front them that money. It's not just an American problem either. I know we have people in the UK and Australia and Scotland. I mean, it's everywhere, guys. It's a big worldwide globalist mafia. It's corrupt. And the hardest part about living in this day and age right now is that we see it at our fingertips. We have our phone attached to us. And we don't need the news to report it to us because there's enough people with that device in their hands. We'll get it directly from the source. We can see it. They just recorded that. Here's what we just saw. Here's what we all think. No. But what formerly known as Z just said, they're dividing us. Why? Why? Well, they know probably that our education system has kept our IQ low on purpose. They don't teach us any real life skills. And we know that they can be emotionally triggered because we've told them their entire life they have, this wrong with them and that wrong with them. Here's another pill to go shove down your 4-year-old's throat for this problem that our food did to them. Or that radiation for the 5G or whatever's coming through the screen. Yep, here's another pill. And we know that if we combine that for, K through 12, by the time they become an adult, they're not going to have any social skills. And they're going to turn their TV on. They're going to nod along. They're going to clap along. And they're going to say, oh, my God, they're telling me I should hate people that think the other way of me. I should hate them rather than, no, let's embolden you to go and challenge them. Challenge them. Bring the receipts. We need heated debate. We need heated debate. We don't need heated sound bites. Heated debate. I get fired up. I say my point and then I shut up. I shut up after I say my point. You respond to it without me interrupting you, without some dumbass moderator interrupting me, without a bell ringing, without having to get it done in a minute. I don't even know if there's any saving this other than the fact that it might just have to crash and burn. We might have to hit rock bottom if we're not there. Stop not trusting your gut. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You can do anything that you want to do. I can do anything that I want to do. Not one person in here should have the excuse of, I don't know how to do that. With all of the technology at our fingertips between AI, YouTube, everybody that's willing to help each other at this point. I've said for some time now, this is on a completely different note. I've I've gotten about 12 emails over the course of the time since I've started streaming. People have said, Bertie, can you teach me like how to do this with Canva or that? Absolutely. I'm going to do that. I'm going to host, a stream that's free. No gatekeeping. Here are the tools that I use. Here's how I do it. Here's how I set it up. Here's what you're going to need. And if you want to go and you want to stream and you want to be able to put your voice into a mic to come through the speakers, there should be no reason that anybody's afraid to stop you. Why? If you're good enough at what you do, people will watch you. Hence the reason why I don't talk about other creators. I don't talk bad about it. I'm always propping their stuff up. I'm not worried about it because I don't know how else to say it other than that my goal in my own mind is crystal clear. I want to do this because I enjoy it. I want to do this as if I'm talking to you all in person around a dinner table or a bonfire, or we're hanging out up at the cabin, half in the bag, drinking beers, and we're shooting the shit. If you are somebody that hates what I'm saying right now, that is okay. That's okay. There's no skin off my back. I'm not going to dox you. I'm not going to go and shit on you. Is that because I'm soft? Is that because I'm just weak and I don't care? No. If anything, it's like I have better things to do. Okay. I'm trying to wake people up about the Idaho 4 case. Yet, I don't know if I could even say that that's all it's about at this point. I'm trying to wake people up that our own government does psychological operations on us. And even if it's not some psyop, they have the ability to do sophisticated operations that we're not taught about. They have stuff that exists that we don't get taught about. We only know what we're allowed to know. Why is that so hard for everyday people to wrap their head around? You know, it's like get up, dust off, recalibrate yourself, and go to work. Go to work on what you enjoy doing and what you're passionate about. Be yourself. Nobody else is you. There's not another person in this world that is able to do what you do, the way that you would do it. And if you're, I'm going to use social media for an example. Please understand, you should never be nervous about, obviously you want to think before you speak from a standpoint of like, on a hot take, there's a time and a place, right? Or there's a time and a place to rant, like what I'm doing now. People's opinion of you only lasts as long as it takes for them to scroll by. That's it. Think about yourself when you're scrolling and you see something, you judge them a little bit. By the time you watch the next video, are you even thinking about them? No. It's the same thing for you. So don't be afraid of it. If you got something to say it, and say it with your chest. Bring the receipts. Stand up for yourself. If you're in the hive, I have your back. Everybody else in here has your back. I know you guys got my back. We're not going to win if we don't address this. We're not. We're fighting an uphill battle. We are doing the definition of insanity, which is let's do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. No, it's time to change. How do we change? We give ourselves the right to say, no. We don't agree with that. We might not agree with each other, but we sure as hell disagree more with you. That's the change that we need. We need people to step up and be a leader. A leader, a selfless leader, servant leadership. That's what we need. We need servant leadership. And that will conclude my rant and this stream for this Saturday. I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., we are going to have the roundtable. That is going to be LA Mike and Big Daddy Jones. I'm stoked for that. We're going to be in costumes. It's going to be epic. Don't miss that. I hope you all tune in for that, and I will see you then. Cheers.